What is up, you awesome kisters? It is CistReactZ. Before we even start this video, let's just get this out of the way. Make sure you guys hit that like button right now. It only takes 3 seconds. Scroll down, tap that like button if you guys want more content for the channel. Also, make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload, because you know YouTube does not notify people. Also, make sure you guys use code NOTCIST on your Fortnite purchases. And if you guys want to be just like Cosmo over here and want to be shouted out every time a video starts and ends, make sure you guys check out the Patreon link in the description below to get shouted out for $1 a month. Anyway, guys, let's go.
Keep it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the...
What is up, you awesome kisters? Welcome back to another reaction video. Today, guys, we're reacting to Game Theory FNAF just got a reboot. FNAF Help Wanted by MatPat. So here we go. Here we go.
Installing brand new copies of each and every one of the FNAF games. So you
what is this, like his 10th FNAF Theory now?
But the games that we're specifically interested in are FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night.
Okay.
The free ones. Huzzah for not having to buy these games for literally like the 4th time. Let me just open up both of these on the computer to show you that we are working with absolutely
like, multiple
clean
times
and fresh copies of both these games. Open up FNAF World. The first time that we open this, we should get that cutscene of the two
showing this though?
eyes telling us that something has happened out in the world. There it is. We're just gonna wait.
Is he doing this because people don't believe him or something?
We hit start.
He usually doesn't show the
and
process like this.
Literally nothing on screen, right? We have slots 1, 2, and 3, all empty. No trophies.
Is he showing some type of
change? And that's
or
the important point here, right? Each time you beat the game, you get a different trophy along the bottom based on what ending you got. So notice 0 trophies, 0 endings, 0 gameplay. Okay, so we're gonna X out of that as well. Fantastic. Hopping on over to Ultimate Custom Night, there is no high scores unlocked. We have no power-ups that have been given to us. Our office is
really showing the blank slate, though.
Nothing, right? No creepy cutscenes of Toy Chica in her skimpy school uniform.
God,
nothing.
Please don't make me remember that.
Go, nada. Now, let me set the scene for you, right? If you think back to the release of Ultimate Custom Night, we were all really excited to see who would be included in this mega list of who's who in the FNAF universe. This
last year, though, like, I don't even remember
that.
I feel like it came out like a couple of months ago still.
At the end of FNAF 6.
Time
Some
flies.
of the inclusions were obvious, right? Like the 70+ versions of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Springtrap, Golden Freddy, and the Puppet, right? They're in practically every game. They're super important to the lore of the games. No big surprises
look
there.
at that
But then, when the
roster
kept expanding, you got to some weird inclusions, right? You got yourself
needs to be weirder.
Music Man.
Needs to be more complicated.
Why? El-Chip, which is basically just a glorified reference to like one of his failed games before Five Nights at Freddy's. Strange, sapient pile of garbage over here, like
trash in the gang.
You would immediately think of as being included in the like must-have list of characters in this franchise. But of them all, there was one inclusion that felt the strangest of all to me. This one right here. Old Man Consequences from FNAF.
Yeah, we really never just talked about it. We just left him there.
That particular game is your punishment for going too deep into the code of the game. You see, FNAF World is a video game that's aware that it's a game, right? And throughout the adventure, you repeatedly have to dive into these glitches to unlock new parts of the world.
Jeez, remember the glitches, guys. Remember the hidden trees.
3 layers deep into those glitches. Otherwise, you're going to be trapped there forever. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happens if you don't heed the warnings. You wind up at Old Man Consequences Lake, trapped. What makes it so weird to see him here,
you gotta like kill yourself to get out, right?
Is that FNAF World is a game that Scott has largely disowned. He's embarrassed of it, and it's a game that's ultimately been dismissed by the fan base.
Why did he say he was embarrassed of it?
In part because of those reasons, but also in part because it seems more closely tied to the book lore than it is to the game lore. And yet, here he is. Old Man Consequences in Ultimate Custom Night, alongside characters that
I think we got some bookends from it.
In a game that is also canonical, right? It has the canonical ending of William Afton suffering eternal torment at the hands of Golden Freddy.
He just got grabbed.
It's almost like Scott Cawthon is telling us that Old Man Consequences is implicitly canonical. He's canonical by association. So, why do I bring all this up? Well, there's an Easter egg in Custom Night that you've probably seen back when people were playing that game, right? You set Old Man Consequences to a difficulty level of 1, and you start your night. Gonna turn off the fan.
Wait, what?
And here we sit. There's no one here to attack us outside of Old Man Consequences, so hopefully he shows up. Oh, and here's Dee Dee.
And now you're dead.
By proxy of doing this, ruined our opportunity to unlock this Easter egg, so we're going to restart. Please Alt for this game.
Yeah, we're just used to him
We're
like
gonna
showing
try
screenshots,
again.
not like
Reset the
doing the
ventilation,
gameplay.
thank you. Oh, there is. Boom.
So I guess he's doing a different
Good.
style theory.
So now, here we go, right? We're falling, quote unquote, falling through the source code of the game. We wind up here.
Yes, he just didn't have enough
Old Man
screenshots for this
Consequences,
video.
right? You may have seen this Easter egg during people's gameplays, but here we go. We go to Old Man Consequences over here, and he gives us his line.
Come and sit with me for a while.
Leave the demon to his demons. Rest your soul. There's nothing else. We
Rest your soul, as in
one of our
kill
past
yourself,
theories
so this
about
game could
Ultimate
finally
Consequence
end.
That this is Old Man Consequences talking to the vengeful spirit that exists inside Golden Freddy, trying to tell him, hey dude, chill out, move on with your afterlife. Just let William Afton
Or more
suffer
violent
on his
terms,
own."
kill
Because
yourself.
If you listen to the audio that's playing in the background of this scene, you can definitely hear him suffering. Well, it's either his tormented screams or, you know, Scott Cawthon shouting through a fan. Now,
That would be
most people
super
seeing this
awesome.
Easter egg would be like,
Just him
"Oh, now what do I
screaming
do?
through a
There's
fan."
nothing else. I guess I
He's
gotta
like,
restart
yeah,
the game.
that's pretty
Old
good
Man
audio.
4.
Just adds
And
it to the
already
game.
This would be a really cool, really elaborate Easter egg.
No
However,
editing required,
for
just
those
put
of us
through a
who
fan.
have played through and know FNAF World better than we probably should, we know
So
that there
many
is
Freddy's
one
and Doom.
final thing that you can do in this scene, right? You can move on over to the top of the lake, and you can drown yourself.
Yeah.
Now, in that game, when you did this, it would actually reveal a secret ending that is completely hidden from that game's texture files. It shows a person standing alongside two smaller figures in front of this flashing TV screen. It's a parent and their two kids, or at least that's as much as I can make of it, right?
What is
and
that
sure
about?
enough, you can actually do the same
forgot.
thing here in Ultimate Custom Night, going into the lake and drowning yourself. Except here, it ultimately crashes the game. I'm going deep into the lake. Uh-oh, I'm trapped in the water. Oh no! It's like quicksand. It's not so much a lake as it is quicksand.
It's more like
So,
shorting
down
out
to
since
the
you're a
lake,
robot.
deeper, and it crashes the game, right? We're back to the home screen.
I don't really think
No
quicksand
hidden
would
ending or Easter
really
egg
affect
there.
the robot,
But
other than
here's
just
where
submerging
things
it in
get
the ground.
crazy. Instead of me booting up Ultimate Custom Night again, we're gonna hop back over to that brand new, fresh, clean copy of FNAF World that I showed you earlier. Here we go, FNAF World. We have
Okay.
not played this game whatsoever, and we hit start.
And the trophy's there, right? Yep.
Wouldn't you know it? Without playing a second of this game, look what suddenly appeared on our menu screen. A trophy that you unlock in FNAF World by visiting Old Man Consequences Lake. In other words, these two games, but more importantly, in the lore of this franchise, these two worlds are connected. Somehow. But what does all this mean? That, my friends, is our episode for today.
God dang! That was just the intro scene? Yo! That was just the intro scene. I thought that was like
Hello, Internet. Welcome
ruining
to
your childhood
Game
since 2011.
Theory, the
I thought that
channel
was
where it's
like
always
it.
April,
Like I thought he was
considering
changing the
number
style of
Easter egg
it.
hunts we go on. So that connection between FNAF World and Ultimate Custom Night was originally discovered by Reddit user Roxas Lucario, and it ultimately hinges on an info file that collects variable information from across the various games. For instance, the first time you start up FNAF World,
What?
you're presented with an opening cutscene.
Something went very wrong. That's why I'm here. I will put you back together.
Great, awesome.
All
Go to the
connected
info
by
page
it.
After seeing that creepy opening cutscene, and suddenly the trigger first is activated, presumably telling the game that you've seen that scene once before. So for all subsequent playthroughs, you don't have to see it again. That's how
Okay.
these sorts of variables work. But what's
Yeah.
weird though is that the trigger for this drowned ending and unlocking the trophy is titled Beat Game 4, which
Beat
might just
Game
mean it's
4?
the fourth ending of FNAF World. Fine, but why then would Scott use that exact same variable name in Ultimate Custom Night? It's not like there's multiple endings in that game, and it's not like Ultimate Custom Night is the fourth game in the franchise. Him using that exact same variable name suggests that the connection between the two was very much intentional. And that, my friends, is just scratching the
God,
surface.
Scott,
Because this
leaving all these things behind.
very important
Just
Easter
been
egg
sitting
starts
there.
laying the groundwork
And
for
someone
where
just
this
now found it.
Ultimately headed moving forward, where FNAF VR clearly left off, and where the new FNAF AR game, Special Delivery, releasing this October, is taking us next.
Make sure you guys hit that like button, turn on the notification bell if you want me to watch it or play it.
There's a trailer for it and everything, because my torment is year-round and unceasing. Looks like we're gonna end up playing hide and seek.
Yep, all of our
torment. In a minute. FNAF World was a game that was largely.
How's that game even gonna work? What do you guys think? Comment down below. I can't wait to play it. Oh.
But in all seriousness, for all the
super tired of that voice.
This franchise has, it's never been particularly meta. The lore, on the whole, was its own self-contained story within this fictional universe. The only times things got truly meta was in
Look at that
FNAF
creepy
World,
art.
which sure helped us to predict the appearance of Baby and Henry into
Don't
the
confuse me
mainline
with the
game,
actual
but it was
purple
also the
guy.
game where Scott Cawthon literally appears as the final boss, complaining about how sick he was of pumping out new games for our insatiable appetite for animatronic death. Scott, you're our mama bird, my friend. Puke that sweet, sweet lore down into my gullet. But you can see why most of us would take this as a joke, right? Scott isn't the character in the FNAF universe, so it has to be just another game for the lols.
Jesus,
Except
that's terrifying.
Character in the games. As of FNAF VR, it's revealed to us that Scott, since the beginning, has played a critical role.
There's just something about Scott Cawthon just staring at me right now. I don't like that.
The lore of the FNAF universe.
It's hilarious / creepy.
Entertainment has developed something of a bad reputation over the last few decades. And while it's true that some stories associated with our name were loosely based on actual events,
stories,
the majority of them were total fabrications from the mind of a complete lunatic.
And if that wasn't explicit
lawsuits
enough,
pending.
Hidden throughout the game, make it even clearer.
They lied to us. They lied to all of us.
Never noticed
they
that
told
part.
us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer who supposedly made up a bunch of crazy stories that tarnished the brand.
Don't have to tell me twice, that rogue indie developer is obviously Scott. That's just where it begins, because FNAF World was trying to tell us something.
This man has
about
plugged
where
himself
this franchise
in
was
the
headed.
code.
Video games crossing into the real world, and
He said, "I'm
See,
in."
FNAF World is a lot of things. A lot of things. But its main plot revolves
let's not
around
start
the
that.
aftermath of FNAF 4. We're told when we first boot up the game that something has happened out there in the real world, and it's having an effect in here, the sanctuary, the world of this particular game. From there, the rest of the game features a main quest that's completely hidden. You could go through this entire game and never come across the actual real plot of this thing. The only way that you would know about this is by accidentally lingering on the first dialogue boxes of the game, which in turn releases glitched 8-bit Fredbear.
But you don't really believe that, do you?
He's
No!
everywhere.
Not again!
Who we gonna call glitched 8-bit Fredbear.
He brought it back!
This
He actually did it, the madman!
Clocks. And it's here that we find our first instance of video game to real life
I've not heard that
See,
since
each
like
block
2016
is a minigame
or
that connects
something.
back to FNAF 3, and all the individual steps necessary to unlock the Happiest Day cutscene. That game's good and canonical ending. If you think way back to that game, it always bothered me that punching random blocks on a wall or double-clicking a random poster in your real-life security office was somehow allowing us to put the spirits of the dead children to rest. But FNAF World gave us an allowing us to
go back. Did he say that you could click the blocks on the office in FNAF 3? I never knew that.
In your real-life security office was somehow allowing us to put the spirits of the dead children to rest. But
there was a code in the wall?
Gave us an explanation even
how was anybody supposed to know that?
FNAF World, the game world, or more accurately, the spirits that are trapped existing in that game's code were able to push out and affect changes IRL through those clock minigames. That's how you get these kind of video gamey moments in what is otherwise a realistic, albeit haunted setting. Now, why is any of this important? Why are we talking about it now so many years after these games were first released? Well, because it's only starting to matter.
Like nearly 5 years.
It's exactly what we saw happen at the end of FNAF VR Help Wanted.
Jeez, that face, dude.
Sentient code that was looking to escape from its video game prison.
It was just junk. Circuit boards and things like that. Looked pretty old. Somehow, though, there was usable code on some of it. It seemed to take hold by itself. things started changing.
What I'm saying here is that in the official lore of this series, official lore that is apparently dating back further than we would have expected, computer code is somehow able to store the minds or spirits or whatever of these characters and eventually rebirth them out into the
maybe
real
I should
world
pick that
if
up.
the right steps are taken. See also Petscop. And in FNAF VR, we see an instance of this happening. William Afton, who was trapped in the circuit boards, was released into the code of this new game, Help Wanted, where he then took the form of Glitchtrap until finally, through us playing the game and collecting the tapes and putting the pieces back together, was able to escape again. But this time, he was able to escape not just from circuit boards, but out into the real world. All of it. All
He's here,
of
and
this
he's back.
goes back to the story that FNAF World was trying to tell us years ago. The story that we all didn't take seriously because the final boss was literally an impervious rainbow.
Are you kidding me? Come on.
No, screw the rainbow, man.
What? What?
I'm only just realizing it now, but Help Wanted is actually a cute and...
Listen, hold on. Screw the rainbow boss battle. The real boss battle was the little course for the rainbow. You guys remember that? How literally Scott turned the game into Unfair Mario or Geometry Dash, and everything was a trap, and the rainbow would just be sitting there talking crap while you suffer for like an hour.
Name. I mean, we all thought
Screw
it
that
was
boss
Help
battle.
in
It would probably have
terms
been
of,
8 times as
a
easier
want
than
ad, right?
actually
Help as a video game tester, which
going through the
is
crash
core
course for the
premise of
rainbow.
game, but it's also
God,
Help Wanted.
Made me
Glitchtrap
think about
wanted.
that.
Heck, he needed our help in order to escape. So, well done, Scott. Good name. Just like Pizzeria Simulator riffs on the idea of simulator games, but really it's an empty box waiting as a trap to catch the final animatronics and burn them alive. Or how Sister Location is all about a separate but related robotics business, but also about a key character's sister, maybe, question mark. Well done, Scott. Well done. Slow clap. Now, you might be thinking,
Love this
wow,
passive-aggressive
malicious
nature.
code, people trapped in video games? This sounds nothing like the original story that started off this whole franchise. And yeah, that's entirely the point. The old story of Five Nights at Freddy's was, at least in part, a complete lie.
They lied to us.
Lie.
They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer. But that's not true at all. Fazbear Entertainment hired the game developer.
What?
Those indie games were designed to conceal and make light of what happened. This isn't
I
just
keep
an
forgetting
attempt
these
to
tapes,
be
man.
brilliant. It's an elaborate cover-up.
Let me rephrase what we just heard. Scott is
Was
one of
hired.
the bad guys. Based on the lore in Help Wanted, he was hired on by Fazbear Entertainment to create the FNAF games, give us the spooky ghost stories that exist within them, and in turn distract us from the real truth. Distract us away from what Fazbear's goals really were. He was lying to us. If FNAF VR's tapes are to be believed, pretty much everything we know from the first 3, at least, but maybe even 4, 5, heck 6 games could all be thrown out as complete fabrications created by Scott Cawthon for the
So what you're telling me is he just killed his own game? Because to be honest, the first 4 kind of gave us a really interesting story about dead kids coming back to possess suits, you know? I mean,
sole reason because he was paid off by Fazbear Entertainment. This thing, Glitchtrap,
it bothers me.
A recreation of someone named William Afton. Heck, William Afton might not even exist.
Yeah.
But to be honest, he probably does. Since
He really just
mentioned
Thanos'd
my
him.
name at the beginning of FNAF Sister Location, and FNAF VR seems to replicate his original crimes pretty darn closely. So I'm gonna assume that some of that is actually true. The long story short here is that FNAF VR, in making Scott part of the Fazbear cover-up, is the franchise's way of rebooting the story for the next generation, telling us that with FNAF VR, we're starting an entirely new lore. In disowning Scott's story as lies, it's explicitly telling us that everything we've known up to this point is
Bothers
wrong.
me.
It's a distraction. Instead, the real story, the story that's going to be told to us via the next generation of Five Nights at Freddy's
Which
games,
is the
carrying
neon
forward
stuff
the
that's on
core
Scott Games right
themes
now.
and ideas that were first introduced to us back in FNAF World. A
FNAF
story of
into
video
madness,
games,
right?
Code, all coming to life and crossing over into the real world. And funny enough, if we look back to FNAF World, it was trying to tell us the truth about this theme the entire time. As 8-bit Glitchbear tells us in that game,
Glitchbear.
don't be deceived by the one pulling the strings. It's why Scott is technically the final boss of the game, but the true ending, the clock,
And then they
ending that
beat him to
unlocks
death.
the Easter eggs from FNAF 3, it has nothing to do with him at all. It's entirely disconnected from why Scott is there. Again, the indie developer known as Scott Cawthon within the FNAF lore
He's
is
just been
trying to distract
taunting
us
us.
away from the truth of what we should be
Forget
doing
that.
in
Play
these
my wacky
games.
game.
And if you think I'm reading too much into this, think again. Scott is trying to clue us back into the importance of FNAF World. As many of you know, Scott has his website, scottgames.com, where there's always some new teaser image and stuff hidden in the source code. And on there right now is a really cool teaser for the next FNAF game coming out in 2020. Clearly, by looking at it, it's a FNAF Stranger Things crossover.
That thing's gonna be coming out
considering
tomorrow.
the
He's terrible with
1980s
release dates.
era neon-themed mall straight out of season 3 of that show. But what's a little less well known, though, is Scott's second site, FNAFworld.com, which has been dormant for a really long time.
Yeah.
Dormant, at least until a month ago. You see, it was updated to have a big old number
58
smack dab in the middle of it. And when you brighten things up, because you always brighten
It's
things
the
up
critics
when you're given
talking.
something by Scott Cawthon, you see a bunch of funny reviews appear for whatever this new game is going to end up being. Now, the number 58 might seem like
Stop
it's
caring after
completely
the stream
random,
theory.
right? A weird, mysterious number, but it's actually not. It all goes back to, you guessed it, FNAF World. In that game, there's a playable demo for the latest unreleased FNAF game, Freddy in Space.
Yeah, that's
that
what-
game's number, installment
57.
number 57.
I think
Meaning
this is
that
completely
Scott's
disconnected
next
from the lore,
project,
though.
Or at least one of his next projects coming out in a
'Cause
few
FNAF
months. is gonna be
57 was just
another
a space
wacky
joke.
minigame with lore connections potentially hidden inside of it. In fact, if FNAF 57 Freddy in Space is to be believed, as you play through it in FNAF World, the next installment is going to be titled Poopits in Space, which sounds completely dumb, but you saw those hidden reviews. They were not super positive
Wait.
about whatever FNAF 58 is shaping up to be. And heck, you
FNAF
don't
58 was
have to
actually
believe it is
mentioned
coming
in
straight
there? I
from
forgot
Scott's
that.
own disembodied
Dang it.
head floating in a jar
Poopits
from
in
that
space.
game. Like I said, FNAF World is weird. And we are still not
Super
done.
weird.
The idea of games and code, digital horrors crossing over into the real world is becoming more explicit in his other new game that he's working on. The one that we know is releasing this October. FNAF
Oh!
Delivery, an augmented reality title that, based on the trailer,
He
and
keeps
title,
catching my
will have
dumb self by
animatronics being
surprise,
dropped
seriously.
off into your house. Sure, the idea of using
Crossing
your
into
phone
the
to
real
see
world.
the animatronics roaming around your home might just seem like a fun, quirky new way to play these sorts of
Quirky.
games, but from a lore standpoint, you wouldn't be surprised if what this is actually doing is forwarding the core themes of the new direction for the story of these games. Deadly characters starting off as harmless pieces of code and then escaping out into the real world through your device.
My
It's
God.
happening with Glitchtrap. By the nature of augmented reality, it's literally happening again in this game. Any way you slice it, the lines between reality and fiction are getting blurrier. And it's Scott and FNAF World, of all things, that are serving as the bridge linking those two worlds. It all started coming to a head with FNAF VR, but starting this October, don't be surprised if this franchise,
How are we supposed to
as
record our
you know it,
gameplays of
really
this?
starts to
Now I'm thinking
change.
about it.
But hey, that's just a theory.
Like these
A
schools.
game theory. Thanks for watching. Me put up the subscribe button so you can click it and join the army of 12 million
Alright, guys, wait.
other loyal theorists out there just like you. Bet you can't click it and finish. 4,
gotta
3, 2, and heck, if you're itching to see more reality-bending storytelling.
Okay. Sorry, I was just trying to make sure he was not adding more to the theory, because sometimes at the end you hear him say something about, we'll be back next week, or something like that with another FNAF theory. But, yeah, that was Matt Pets' FNAF just got a reboot. Really blew my mind. What do you guys think about this theory? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's reading to the lines too much? Is it bothering you like it's bothering me? I kind of just hate the idea of, like, 4 years worth of, oh, the kids are in the suits. Now it's like, oh, it's a lie for a whole new story. I wish you would have just implemented it just normally without the reboot part. And like, it's just gonna kind of feel soulless, no pun intended, if the next game's just about killer robots that are just free of their code and not possessed by humans. I don't know, it'll just kind of feel soulless to me. I don't know. But, you know, the game's not out yet, so you gotta play it first to truly get your opinion out. So anyway, guys, if you guys like this reaction, make sure you guys hit the like button, comment below, you know, hit the notification bell, hit that like button if you guys want more FNAF content. Peace out.